Well, good morning, everyone. Well, we can't deny that this very unusual situation has arisen with this confrontation between the President. And the President has declared that the Prime Minister said nothing new. Well, at least he agrees with what the Prime Minister said, namely that he believes negotiations will help. Although meanwhile, even the negotiations with Iran that were declared American program were rejected by Iran. But what it means more or less that he may already have nuclear weapons, even though Obama agrees, because that's the suggestion of Netanyahu. And if not, if we don't stop him right away, he'll have them in a short time. And the world has been silent before, with terrible results, not just for the Jewish people, for all mankind. If you think of what happened in the World War, Second World War, and what could have happened, well, we have to learn the lesson not to make out that everything will turn out fine. We have to hope for the best, but prepare for the worst. And maybe it's a sign from Hashem, which produced a brilliant speaker and orator, who can make more people aware of the danger. That's the way Hashem wants to save Am Yisrael from the Haman of today. And as far as I understood, I think it's in a way without going into the detail, but to make a parallel between the battle between Haman and Mordechai, the battle that takes place today between Iran and their threats against Israel, is in fact what we've been discussing all the time. So now I'm going to continue. You've got in front of you page Kuf Nun Zayin. What application does the battle with Amalek, which we're involved today also, have connection with Esther, the first confrontation with Amalek and Am Yisrael? The hidden enemy is worse than the open enemy. Similarly, in paraphrases, Kuf Nun Zayin, this is really the more recent volume of Lichtim Eliyahu, which produced separately, like sixth volume. Avera Geluya Efshera Lahachrita. An open sin can easily be cut off. Al Vamesh Adam Mat'eh et Atzmo, so a person knows I've done something wrong, then he can do it right. But if a person deceives himself, as we all do, we all deceive ourselves, think we're doing things with such righteousness. Actually, we've got a lot of bias created from materialistic instinct. Because they're in tikkun. There's no way of putting that right. But it's out of the tefillah. Which is the advice? You've got to pray to Hashem. As it says, by the first battle. When Moshe Rabbeinu lifted up his arms, then Am Yisrael were victorious. which, as you know, the sages say, it's a mission. In other words, what was the significance of Moshe lifting up his hands? It called the people to look upwards, to try to connect up with Hashem in time of trouble. So the people also, they recognize, if we want to avoid the desire of Amalek to destroy us, we have to cling to Hashem. He can help us from the hidden enemy. And here Odessa applies this to the hidden enemy within our own selves. Like the sages say, Hua Satan, Hua Yetzara, Malach HaMavet, the death instinct. Really, I want to mention this, by the way. The sages say the evil inclination, Yetzara, which is generally referred to each person's evil, materialistic, self-centered inclinations. Whatever they are, they're different each person. They say, Hua Satan. And the Satan is the power of evil in the whole world, which causes nations and others to follow obstacles in life and regard the real obstacles of spiritual life as being their true ambitions. People, Satan is also going to besit now, creates hatred, anger, all destructive instincts, jealousy, and each individual has something of this, one way or another, deep down in the subconscious. And amongst mankind, we have the whole movements that follow this. And the Satan is even Hashem has put this into the world to teach us that life is not just a smooth path. Life is an obstacle race. And if you have a smooth path that's always the same, go along, same every day, day by day, that's not real life. Real life is adventure. When you have to overcome obstacles. And that also develops the personality. And that's why Hashem sends it. He wants us to develop our freedom of choice, to raise ourselves above the materialistic world, not away from this world, but to teach us the spiritual, higher, moral, and say godly powers within man will use the physical in order to improve the moral, the spiritual. And they say also that's the Malach HaMavet. That is the death power in the world, the death instinct. So I want to say that in connection, I didn't bring it now, but what I mentioned yesterday, Elie Wiesel's statement that he made, and it was widely advertised, that the battle today is not just between anti-Semites and Jews. It's between those who believe in life and those who believe in death. And as I mentioned you already, it came out from the terrorists who held the 4 hostages, many other hostages, in the supermarket in Paris. And he said, he admitted, you Jews believe in life, we believe in death. And that's why Chazal say, Hu Malach HaMavet, because really it's a death instinct. It's taking over mankind. They think power lies in the number of people you can kill. Yeah? Who's the strongest power? It's got the different extreme forces. And that Obama, in his speech, he said, well, you know, the terrorism was not limited to Islam. He mentioned also Christian Inquisition, Crusade, what should we mention? If you're telling me that the Christian world, Boruch, thank God, had followed also the Jewish lead. The Jewish lead says clearly in the Tanakh, that in ancient times Hashem saw it necessary, because corruption was so strong, to also ask the people of Israel to be partners in destroying very evil forces. Like he himself felt he had to destroy all mankind, except the few who were left from the deluge. Then we came to Domina Mora. He made an agreement. Avraham is going to help my task. He's going to see that mankind, the human being, the divine image can remain. You've got to discuss with him. I'm going to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah, right next door to where he was wandering. He said, all right, if you've got 10 people who will be innocent and will not engage in the pursuit of cruelty and terrorism and murder, then I will not destroy them. If we go the other way, it'll be different. So today, these are the words of Elie Wiesel, called the face of the Holocaust here. So he said, well, we know there was Moloch worship in ancient times, yeah? Infanticide, to go and sacrifice children. And we know they were different. But that mankind's got beyond this. All of Western civilization, one would hope also Islamic civilization, and in fact it is true that the higher level Islamic civilization join in with this. Even you say, oh, Muhammad killed people, quite many people. And you go back also you go to the way in which people, some say misinterpret, but still, all right, there were killings, which according to present standards, we would say we've overcome that. And I don't think there's any Christian group today that thinks we should go back to the methods of the Inquisition. So what's the comparison? He's the president of the American group. American nation was founded by the Puritans. The Puritans were those who were Christians, and they were moral Christians. They believed very much also in studying the Bible. Yeah, you know, in the initial colleges, people had to give their thesis in Hebrew in America. So, all right, they're also Muslims. And we know, as I happen to know very well, it's in the army. And I myself was present with my son on many occasions when we spoke to the Muslim chaplains. They worked in harmony with the Christian chaplains. There was no thought of introducing Middle East Dark Ages method of dealing with human beings. So that's why it says, Hu Malach HaMavet, the Yetzer, but you should know this is the power of destruction which Hashem has put into the human being as a possibility. Because if Hashem would make the human being be entirely good, then human beings would be no more than robots. So anyway, we see tzarich lit'ametz mod b'tfilah. So in order to remove this efshel natzel, עובדים ועוסקים בתורה מצוות, אבל כן הפנים חסר כי יד על כזכר. So it's like this. The only way we can help ourselves in such situations when we as individuals are attacked by the power of evil, which is subconscious and which we're not really aware, is through prayer, to purify our heart, to serve you in truth. And that's how you can be saved. Because there are people who serve Hashem, they learn Torah, they fulfill the mitzvot, and nevertheless, hapanim chaser, inside, it's empty. Empty of virtue. And then, it doesn't remain empty, it becomes filled with self-centeredness. Kiyad al-ketzka. And self-centered means I'm the important person. And therefore I will have to manipulate other people. I might look like a great rabbi or a great Rosh Yeshiva, but inside I'm only really interested in my own ego. That's all I want, my own ego. And get better inside. Or also, I get provoked, I fly into a temper. Or I'm so jealous of everybody else. All the time, the jealousy is creating rottenness inside. כי עוד על כסקו, וצריך להתאמץ מאוד בתפילה, the Moshe שהגדול בתפילה. Moshe was the greatest one as a model, how much one has to pray. We know it from Bet Chana. Moshe felt so much that Eretz Israel is very important. And the whole journey from Mitzrayim to get to Eretz Israel, in order here to make the Malchut Hashem. So the people of Israel can only really establish a model for the nation of the world in our own land. There's so many mitzvahs which you can only fulfill here, which means also there's a certain level of the higher holiness which can only extend to all mankind if we establish it in our land. And he prayed hundreds of prayers. Nevertheless, it says, when Moshe tried to pray to remove Amalek, his hands became heavy, he couldn't keep them up. That means when you're confronting Amalek, the hidden enemy, who wants to destroy the conscience entirely from all human beings, well, that's really what we mean, that's how Amalek, to remove the conscience. But after the tefillah, it's only through prayer that you can erase the power of Amalek in the heart. Because let's say the leading phrase in the Chumash for this is that when Am Yisrael had experienced the exodus from Egypt, splitting of the sea, and other miracles, of the bitter waters turning sweet, but then they were without water. Without water, they complained, and they said, "Hayesh Hashem b'kebedim," and is God really in our midst? Maybe God not interested in us, and that goes on inside the heart. A person might talk, but he really believes that in his life that God is guiding his life, or is my own ego guiding my life. A person's got to be theocentric and not egocentric. It's very and this is all right down deep inside. And that's the purpose of all the mitzvahs and so on. That's to purify us. But sometimes all external. And we mustn't allow this mistake to stay in the heart, because on that there's no way, the only way you can remove Amalek is through tefillah. A little error can be a complete falsehood. And that's why the Zohar says, Erev Rav, the words Erev Rav, the mixed multitude, that produced the golden calf, and which is the weaker element which Amalek were able to destroy, is Rashi Tevot Shenekavot. And the truth is, the Ayn of the Erev Rav is Amalek. And with the power of Amalek, it came into the hearts of the people of Israel. The prayer, that's why the prayer wasn't enough to save them. Many of them got killed because the source of the punishment was the subconscious, more hidden aspect of evil. And when will this happen? When we come back What does it say? The Pashat Zachor, when we recited it, we said the main mitzvah of erasing Amalek is before the Mashiach comes. And the situation is described, I would call it the post-Six-Day War situation, when the truth is at that time, in the post-Six-Day War, so you find voices of support for Israel from all sides. And Israel was praised in many ways by most of the nations. And many books came out, from non-Jews as well, the Miracle War. And even a famous episode in West Point where they trained American soldiers to become officers. So he gave a lecture on military strategy from which we should learn from victories of the past. And he mentioned many different victories and how we can learn from them military strategies. And we would not mention the Six-Day War. There was a Jewish soldier there, and he kept on trying to put up his hand, so he tried to make his comment. When he finished the lecture, he goes up to the lecturer and says, "Tommy, no, you're not supposed to in the army to become, let's say, anti-Israel, anti-Semitic. Why don't you mention this fantastic victory?" So he said, "I can't mention it. It's got nothing to do with military strategy. It's the hand of God. It doesn't fit in with military strategy. It's nothing to do with it. That's why I can't mention it." So, okay, but what happens in this age? So this meant, what does it say in Pashat Achor? When Hashem will give you, when you're in your land, and Hashem gives you your land, and when you're in your land and you've got peace from all your enemies around, nobody's attacking you. When the Six-Day War finished, the Muslims said Israel, they recognized, okay, Israel, God is helping them. And the vast majority, for a short time, they didn't dare even to start voices of opposition against the military. But that was as long as the Jews said this was a miracle war. And as the chief of staff after the prime minister said, this is the day that Hashem has made. It only comes from Hashem. Chief of staff, Rabin, that's what he said at that time. But then it changed. People got James Bond image of the Israeli. That's what they thought inside. And then came the earthquake, the picnic, which a good part of the army had in the northern mountains on Yom Kippur. And then came the slippery slope. And all the gains of the 67 Six-Day War turned out to be just temporary. Many of them, in any case. You know what's going to happen now. But this is what's happening. This is the situation. So then it says, then you've got to erase the memory of Amalek. But then Amalek will be strong. So that's what's happening. Amalek has become very strong. Power of Amalek. They're competing, Daesh with Iran. Who's going to be more close to Amalek? And also it says in the Gemara, Chutz v'yaske, at that time arrogance will make people great. Because there's an aspect of Amalek in the Neshama, there's Amalek in the soul. When people think, I'm right, I'm always right. And their arrogance is, they say, I'm right, the others are wrong. And chutzpah, arrogance, which comes in a mistaken manner, you can't put it right. This person always says, what do you mean? So as a result, you can't build the Beit HaMikdash in your heart, which is the source of the Beit HaMikdash. Shu Beit HaMikdash HaIkari, The Bein Beit, it says, V'asur li mikdash v'shachanti, not b'tocho, but b'tocham. It doesn't say, make me a mikdash, a temple that I will live in it. No, it says, I will make me a temple, so I will live inside them. Who are them? The hearts of the people. That's the Beit HaMikdash. The Beit HaMikdash of stone is dependent on the Beit HaMikdash of belief. It's a kli. It's a means to produce the Beit HaMikdash of the heart. Called man sheish ta'ut belief. If we don't realize that, then Amalek is inside us. So what's the help? All these people who say, oh, we've got to build the Beit HaMikdash, we've got to get rid of the mosque, or we've got to go on the Temple Mount, we've got to show them it belongs to us. We've got to first put right our own heart, and make sure Amalek is not there. And what's Amalek based on? It says, it was when Am Yisrael thought Hashem is not with us, not Hashem is really the inner power of the nation or inner power of the individual, then Amalek comes. So we have to start, each one of us, start with the Amalek in the heart. Okay, you can't continue now, but I don't know if tomorrow anyone wants to share, might be able to give it. There's interest tomorrow. I've only put down on the program Daf Yomi, today as well. Why did I say believer? Because I'm tied still to see to my wife, to see my daughter. So I can't do anyone wants to share, ask me tomorrow morning. Then I'll see if I can do it.